Hey guys, welcome back to Take a Little Coffee Break. Today we are talking with our Enneagram 2s. So excited for you guys to get to know them. Side note, I am drinking coffee in this episode, and mostly I don't, because I usually do it like in the evenings, like at 7:30 or 8. Those are the times where I mostly do interviews. But this time around, I was able to we did it a little earlier, so I got to drink some coffee. So I stayed true to my brand this time around. Let me tell you guys a little bit about our Enneagram 2s. So they are called the supportive advisors. 2s are people who see the world through relationships and define themselves through their service to others. They may be selfless, loving, and giving, or dependent, prideful, and manipulative. Their core fear is being rejected and unwanted, being thought worthless, needy, inconsequential, dispensable, or unworthy of love. Their core desire is being appreciated, loved, and wanted. Their core weakness is pride, denying their own needs and emotions while using their amazing intuition to discover and focus on the emotions and needs of others, confidently inserting their help, support, and hopes that others will say how grateful they are for Type 2's thoughtful care. And their core longing is to be wanted and loved. I hope you guys enjoy this cool conversation with our Enneagram 2s, Vonte and Juana, two of my really, really good friends. You know what I miss? And I probably will add this into the podcast for everybody who doesn't know. Vonte used to throw the best Thanksgiving party slash
dinner, yeah.
What was it, like potluck? Not even. You would cook everything.
And Christmas. It was Christmas too.
It was Christmas. It wasn't
Thanksgiving. It wasn't Thanksgiving?
Just Christmas, because it was always after finals.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It was like resource givings or whatever.
Yes.
Christmas.
It was incredible, and I miss it so much. The food was so good, and you just did a great job. You're a really good host, which is probably why you're a 2. Probably plays into it a little bit, but we'll just jump in. Thanks for doing this. I don't really typically ask this from people, but I want to try this out with you guys, because we usually have a little bit more small talk in the beginning. But why don't you guys introduce yourselves, kind of say who you are and like what you do? Anybody can start.
You got it, Juana.
No, Vonte, you go. Your life's more interesting. You go.
Ladies first. You got it.
You live in Dallas, so you have more stuff going on.
Somebody start. I feel like a teacher. If somebody doesn't go, I will call you out.
I guess. Okay, I'll start. I'm Juana. Very awkward. I work for a ministry here in Huntsville, Texas, where nothing really interesting happens. I'm not like Vonte that lives in Dallas, where things actually exist. So, Vonte.
I'm Vonte. I live in Dallas, Texas. Not that much happens. A lot of fun things do happen, but I'm in school right now, and I work at my church here in Fort Worth. So we're just living life.
Hey. And Juana's pregnant.
Yeah, Juana, you're creating life. You're talking about what's happening. You got life being formulated.
You got a whole baby in you.
I'm multitasking. Always multitasking.
I'm so excited. I got to see Juana for the first time. How long was the last time that I saw you?
Like, besides last week?
Yeah.
Like a couple months.
It's been a couple months. And so it was incredible because I saw her and I just saw her. She has a little belly. And it's so cute. I poked it. I got to poke it. Just touch it. It was so weird because I'm like, Juana's pregnant. Like, she's creating life. It's just crazy to think about because we've known each other for so long. Okay. Thank you for introducing yourselves. I'm so excited to interview you guys. 2s are very special people, and they're very sweet, and I yeah, when I heard that Vonte, Juana, I'd been known that she's a 2, but Vonte, when I heard you were a 2, I'm like, oh, it makes so much sense. And so how did you guys find out that you were a 2? What was your reaction? What did you feel? Again, anybody can start. I guess Vonte, you can start this time.
Okay. There's a little bit of drama surrounding this question.
Really?
Yes, because
ooh, the tea.
They were both on the show, Ben and Jordan. Ben was an 8, Jordan's a 6. We
Yes.
all have different stories on how each of us came to know about the Enneagram. I swear that I put all of them onto it.
Oh my God, of course.
Onto it. I'm like, no. But it was sometime after I left Huntsville, because I remember being like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known this when I was in Huntsville.
Wow.
It helped so many of my friendships, like, and relationships when I was in Huntsville.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like I was in Dallas and somebody showed it to me here, and then I like went back to Huntsville and talked about it, or if like I was in Huntsville visiting and like they told me about it then. But for some reason, I know that I can trace it back to just being in Dallas, like within the last 2 years or so.
Okay. And so what was your reaction? Like, what did you feel?
I was like, oh my gosh, where has this been my whole life? Like, there's so much about myself that I like knew, but didn't know how to like what to have language for it or what to call it, you know? And
yeah,
so,
for
again,
sure.
It's like, oh, so this is why I do that, or this is why I'm always like in these situations or whatever. So
yeah, that's
it was
so cool.
eye-opening, I guess.
It really is. All right, Juana.
So for me, I was actually like really disappointed because okay, so when for me the test that I took, it also tells you what makes it to healthy and unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I realized I was a 2, but I was an unhealthy 2.
Dang.
Like, like so like I couldn't even enjoy what was good about being a 2 because I basically had to learn to like not be unhealthy to get to the good stuff of being a 2.
Wow. Yeah.
So I saw it as a test that was like, you suck. So I wasn't really like excited. I was just like, oh great, thanks.
yeah. Well, do you feel like you've grown since then?
I mean, I feel like it's a process because it's like the things that made me an unhealthy 2 were things that I've done since like middle school. So it's like I can't like do like an overnight thing.
It truly is a process.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure I've gotten better because I'm more aware of it now.
Yeah. So, Vonte, we'll start with you this time. What is your favorite part about being a 2?
I don't know that I don't know that it's my favorite part about being a 2. I think it's more so my favorite part about just being who I am. It's like just loving people and like, I don't know, being there for people. That like brings me so much comfort and so much like satisfaction when I can be someone's like shoulder to cry on, or like, you know, just not like just because I want to be somebody's like something, but just more so like I genuinely feel like that's how you do good and you spread love, like just like, you know, giving all you have, your best to somebody. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I love about you.
And I know that.
Yeah.
I know that the people who you're closest to like totally see that and they appreciate you. And it's so sweet to see your friendships with the people that we know that are like in our kind of circle. So yeah, I see that. Juana.
Okay. So I don't know. I'm still figuring out like how to enjoy being a 2 because it's so depressing for me.
Like I hate myself.
I don't want to say that, but yes, like I saw it and I was like, I hate myself. But what I do enjoy, what I've discovered is like the results of doing things for people, but like, because what made me unhealthy was like doing things for people for the affection of it. And so there are moments that I've gotten better to where I don't expect that. Like I don't, you know, get bummed if like this person doesn't like me after I do this for them. So I feel like I'm learning to love the results of doing things for people that don't benefit me.
Yeah. Vonte, I see you smiling. Do you feel like you resonate?
Feel that because like I used to, but I think a lot of times when I was in Huntsville, I was like, I did those for them and they're not you, blah, blah, blah. Like I would be so hurt. But now I'm like, it's okay. I didn't do it for like an expectation to be met. I did it because I genuinely just like want that for that person, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But it is a back and forth, you know? It's like a,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I totally saw that multiple times, Vonte.
Love the drama. Love.
So much tea. So I guess this kind of goes into our next question, which is, what's your least favorite part about being a two?
So I feel like I have to like condense it. Because it almost feels like being a two is a burden, if that makes sense. Like I feel like sometimes, like for example, like it got to a point where it was a problem at work for me. Like it got to a point where I wanted to say yes to everything, for the sake of someone else having the day off, or like for someone else to hang out with their friends. And I didn't feel like my, this doesn't sound really bad, but at the time I didn't feel like my life was like as significant to other people's lives to whether they needed me to hang out with them or like wanted me around. So for me it was so easy to just kind of volunteer myself and just kind of like, hey, like I see the way that like you're influencing these people's lives, like they clearly need you, I'm going to make sure to get this off your plate. It's going to take me all day, but you can spend the day with your friends. And so
Yeah.
I feel like that's like my least favorite part, is just kind of like doing things for people for their benefit and not really considering like my needs. And
Yeah.
because I mean it's like I mean relationships can suffer from that, and not there the like my relationships. And I
Yeah.
mean it took people telling me you need to learn how to say no, and
I
it
would
ended
always
up
tell you
just
that. I remember when we were
yeah.
roommates, I would be like, you need to rest and you need to stop. And Juan would be like, okay, but I can't. And I'm like, no, but you can. It was like a constant fight, I felt like, with you.
Yeah, like it honestly it's a lot of insecurity that comes into play with it. Like I feel like for me being a two, I get insecure of my relationship with people, or I get insecure over just random things. And at the time I felt like the best way I would feel good about myself is letting someone else like
Yeah.
flourish in their life and their time,
Mm,
and like putting other people's needs before my own, basically.
yeah, I get that. Monte, what about you?
For me, I feel like the hardest part about being a two is sometimes people don't want to believe that I'm a two. And to me, that's like you're saying I'm not capable of being this good or like being that nice. You know what I mean? And I believe that there are misconceptions about twos, that we're all like pushovers and we say yes to everything. Because yes, I may be the person that'll say yes before anybody else, but like that doesn't mean I'm a pushover, or you know what I mean? So I feel like
Yeah.
there's so many misconceptions about twos that are put on twos that like Juana was saying, like you get insecure, like, are you actually my friend because like you think I'm a great person and you enjoy my friendship, or like you just like the things that I can do for you. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it is like a battle, like mentally, you know? So I'm
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. It's crazy because when I heard it, I knew exactly that you were too, but not in that way. I was just like, I just saw the way that you loved people and the way that you served and were just there for people. And so if that makes you feel any better, I didn't have those misconceptions about you. So what makes you feel most loved as a two?
for me, it's I don't like compliments like, oh, you sing nice or blah, blah, blah. I hate stuff like that. But like compliments, like words of aff is like my number two. Other than
Words of F.
words of aff
I love
is
it.
number two. And so like I may not respond in the moment, like when somebody says like, hey, I really enjoy spending time with you, or hey, like I appreciate what you did for blah, blah, blah. Like in the moment, I'm just like, oh yeah, thanks. But when I go home and I start to like, cause I'm an overthinker and I replay my day or whatever, like that means a lot to me more than like
Aw.
it may appear in the moment. Like
Yeah.
the moment I like replay it, like it's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh. I feel like that's Juana.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that really resonated with me. I think also for me that makes me feel most loved is just like I'm a big listener in people's lives. Um so much that I don't expect people to like remember what I like or pay attention to details about me. And this is an unhealthy too, like like speaking, like this is not like a general guideline, but it's just like, and it's very recent. Like I've recently had friends that would listen to something that I said, like, oh, I like sparkling water, something so small and something that to me is like insignificant. But they took the time to like drop off like sparkling water for me. And it was like, I didn't need it, but like it came with like a note. And I'm like, words of affirmation is like my top one.
Yes.
So, like I can't receive it well, but like I can't express like
How to receive it.
how to receive it, but like I receive it here well.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, I guess it plays into the whole like, oh, I know they love me, or I know like they want me, you know, like they are my
Yeah.
friends. And so that makes me feel most loved, just like knowing what I like and knowing details about me, and not like surface level things like, oh, she's nice, but it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could be like, I don't know, like sassy sometimes. I don't know, like it's like I'm not like
Yeah.
like a saint. I don't know, you know, does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
I feel like that's another thing hard about being a T. People assume we're saints and like you can't like be sassy. I'm like, what you
Well,
mean?
can I bring something up? I've heard that there's somebody who read into the twos told me that twos can actually kind of in a way sometimes when they're really unhealthy like become manipulative a little bit to kind of get what they want. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I know.
One is like, I won't confirm or deny, but I've heard of that.
No, I've heard of it, and that was the one that I was like, I don't think I'm there. But I feel like if somewhere else would tell me like, you're manipulating me, that would be like, okay. So,
Well, like, I don't think maybe in an evil way, but I think maybe just like, you know exactly what to do to get something. And
in
so
a
you,
like emotional kind of like not like evil, deceitful way, but like if you say this, you know that this person will react this way, kind of. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. And it's like you do the things just to kind of get a reaction, which is, like not necessarily evil, but not necessarily healthy either.
not
but yeah.
that.
So
Don't go with that.
I was kind of waiting to ask that too, because I'm like, I wonder if they resonate with that, which Vonte answered my question. Yes.
Not often, but there have been times when I caught myself and I'm like, ooh, I need to chill out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so I feel like anybody could do it. I feel like I've done that before too. I feel like everybody kind of has some sort of like, especially people who like are pretty social and like they know how to charm, I guess, or like get to know people. Vonte, I feel like you're one of those people, and Juana, I feel like you're that in a different way. You're a little bit more introverted, but you kind of know like when you meet somebody, you feel them out, and you know like exactly what to say to kind of like become their best friend. So I thought that was so interesting. So on the flip side, what makes you feel not appreciated as a two?
I guess and it's not because like I'm upset that like I didn't get recognized, but more so like sometimes if someone hasn't like been intentional with me lately, it kind of like, oh well, like my mind goes to like, oh well, that's just the end of our friendship, like on the start. You know what I mean? Like I guess when someone hasn't been intentional about our relationship with just small things like hey, I want to hang out with you, or if I like sometimes I like psych myself out where I feel like I'm the one always saying like, hey, let's hang out. And so like I'll be like, oh well, they haven't texted me to hang out, so they really want to hang out with me, or are they just being nice, you know? But
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's like this mental game that I have to like battle. But I think it's like what I said there, when I feel like someone hasn't been intentional enough with me, maybe that's like intentional with their time, like they're calling,
Yeah.
or like not necessarily words of ask because like I want that, but like, hey, like praying for you or like thinking about you, something like that. I don't know.
Oh my
That's what.
gosh, literally Juana.
Well, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Actually, yeah. And I mean, to add to that, for me, I think my biggest thing is when people, like, I take the time to know people's character, and my way of honoring is like not believing someone else's dishonoring words of them. um and for me, like, the biggest way to not feel appreciated, or like the biggest way to feel unwanted, is when like someone doesn't reciprocate that. and and so it's then I feel like, oh man, like I like that's totally a lie, but I can't believe they believe that, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like it hurts, because it's like I'm putting myself in a position to, like, I don't know, like, be trusted, and
Yeah.
I share a lot of my life, like, and so that's like the biggest thing that makes me feel not appreciated
Yeah.
is, but then I feel guilty because I'm like, they don't need to know, like, then I almost feel selfish for feeling like I should feel appreciated. Like, oh, does that make sense? Like, I
Yes.
don't know.
That's the most two thing ever.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm like, maybe I deserve it. I don't know. Like,
No, no.
like maybe that is me. I don't know.
No.
But
It's
those are my
so
thoughts.
like, I think being misunderstood is the most awful feeling that somebody can feel. And so when somebody believes something or a lie or whatever, it's like the most awful feeling. But I think especially for it too, because they work so hard to let other people know that their character is strong and good and like, what's the word, genuine.
Yeah.
And so it's such a huge deal for twos. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but when somebody kind of questions that or misunderstands you, it's like so awful because that's not who you are. And so I just see your little hearts breaking. And so
Thanks.
I feel like twos are like fragile little babies. I feel like you guys are just sensitive, like must be protected.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, you're strong people. Like, I don't think you're like weenies. But
Not weak.
no, you're not weak. No, no. But your hearts are so pure and tender. Okay, so have you guys always been a two, or was there a time in your life where it shifted? So, like I said before, in my last episode, I interviewed you guys are twos, I interviewed the threes. And so I talked about the soul child theory. And so basically what the soul child theory is that you were a different number when you were younger and something happened in your childhood, some trauma or something that kind of made you shift into the number that you are now. So for me, I'm a 9 and I used to be a 3, and because I was so misunderstood when I was younger, it kind of made me retreat as a 9. And so I'm going to tell you your soul child. And you tell me if you relate to that or if you think you were another number kind of growing up and maybe you became a 2. So the soul child for the 2s is a 4. And so I'm going to read it to you and then you just tell me if this is something that you relate to. Behind the loving, giving, and helpful outer facade of a 2 lies a competitive, jealous, and spiteful little 4-ish soul child. 2s try to be present. Twos try to present themselves as sweet and kind, self-sacrificing and humble, all of which can be seen as very much of a reaction to the darker tendencies of their soul child. As a 2 contacts his soul child and instead of rejecting him, judging him, and pushing him away, opens his heart to him, he will become primary in his own consciousness. He will find as he focuses more on himself, listening to and feeling his own needs, responding to his own impulses, and taking his own initiative, recognizing his limits and setting them with others, he indeed becomes more centered within himself. So basically,
Adult twos grew up in an environment where self-sacrifice was praised and self-care frowned upon. So they throw themselves at others, making sure everyone else is cared for first. While they always say they don't mind cooking the meal, serving the meal, eating last, and washing all the dishes while the rest of the party relaxes, they're secretly jealous that everyone else gets to put their feet up and wishes just once that they could do the same. Do you guys kind of relate to that a little bit, Vonte? No, you don't?
For me personally, I grew up without my dad, and so for me, I know that I've always been a two because I felt like I needed to, like an unhealthy stage, like I needed to people please in order to receive love in that way or that area that I didn't get it. Or as much
Wow,
as
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that
So
makes sense. So
I
you
think
think you were always a two?
yeah, I'm not saying I may not have had some of those qualities. I know fours and twos are like those are the mistypes or whatever.
Oh yeah.
They're kind of similar, but
And that's why it's called the theory, because it's not really for everyone. But it's just kind of like it might be a thing. And for me, it happened to work. It happened to be like the right thing. Juana.
I think for me, maybe not all of it. I think some of it makes sense. Like my parents were incredible, you know, they're awesome. But I know I didn't grow up with like the whole think about others. Like I think a lot of it was very much like do what is best for you. Like none of your friends are actually your friends. Do things for your benefit. And so I can see how, especially before Jesus, like I was very like like very like selfish and very self-centered, and it was all about me. And I mean, I don't know if I fully understood the whole like theory, but I can kind of see how growing up being told it's all about me and it's only need to be about me, and later make that switch.
Yeah, for sure. That's so true. And I it's really cool because I got to see that change in you firsthand, Juana, when we were roommates. And it was so funny because I don't know if you remember me saying this, but I remember like when you met the Lord, it was like such a switch that it even shocked me. And so I remember you started being super nice to me, and I was like, why are you being fake?
I remember.
And I was like, this isn't you. And it took me a while to get used to it because it was not that you were selfish before. Well, you said you were, but like not that I felt it into my core that you were selfish, but I knew that there was a shift and a change. So it's so cool what happens when, I don't know, when you get saved. It's really cool.
Well, even you, like, because I would treat people terribly as a form of affection. And I remember I stopped treating you terribly after Jesus. And I remember you were like, Juana, do you even like me anymore? Like you're not like mean like to me anymore. Like, is something going on? Like, did I not do something right?
Yes.
So I remember that.
I remember that too, because you're like, if I'm into you, that means I like you. Okay.
The logic.
I know. So it's it's interesting to talk about being a two because, you know, you kind of give and not always receive back. And sometimes you don't get to rest that much. But when you do get to rest, how would you describe your most restful day?
it just depends on where I'm at because like there's two different types of rest for me.
Okay,
Like,
let's
rest
talk about it.
one day could be like me just at home by myself in my room in the bed watching TV, no like interactions with any humans at all. Or like other times I can be really like bogged down from like a busy week or whatever, but like just going over to a friend's house and just like sitting on their couch and like on my phone or us just like watching a show or something or not even doing like a whole lot, but just being in their presence can be so restful for me. Like, so it's like both. It just depends on where I'm at and what I need.
Yeah. Is
Sometimes
quality time one of your love languages?
number one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Makes sense.
Dude, isn't that your number two, Juana?
You know, it fluctuates.
Okay.
Sometimes it is, sometimes
My
it's
number
not.
two is words of aff. So
Oh, interesting. Because I feel like Juana is the same way. Like I could be next to her. We can just literally be watching Parks and Rec or whatever. And it'd be like,
Yeah.
I feel like she'd be satisfied with that. Just not even talking, just sitting next to each other.
It definitely depends on the people.
yeah.
Like if I don't need to entertain you, then
Yeah.
that's great.
So what would be your restful day, Juana?
So it kind of changed recently because I had
Okay.
a quarantine for COVID in the summer. So it used to be staying at the house
Yeah.
and like not doing anything. But now I feel like I have to make it a mindset, not necessarily like a place or setting thing. And so my mindset now is if I'm not expected anywhere, then I'm able to rest.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I have something to do later on, then my mind's already like thinking
Man.
there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
for me, it's a mindset, you know, like I could be in a coffee shop by myself,
Interesting.
but I'm not going to be able to rest there if I know I have a certain time I need to leave to be somewhere.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
So it'd
that's
be
for
like
me.
a whole day.
Yeah, like I've been there for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
So
And just doing. Yeah. That's interesting. That's really cool. So bringing everything down to what we've talked about so far, is there anything else that you would like people to know about being a 2 that maybe we didn't talk about?
I think for me, something for people to know about it too is that you have to really know your wants and like you have to know your identity, because if you don't know your identity, then you're going to easily fall into like what pleases everyone else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like for me, like I'm an introvert, you know, but it's hard for me to be an introvert if I feel like I'm being the like boring one of the group.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like, if I'm so easily insecure about it, then I'm going to become the people pleaser. Maybe I'll end up manipulating. Like maybe I'm going to end up hurting someone just to get their affection. Like, you know, and
Yeah.
I would literally end up being fake just for the sake of pleasing others to receive their love.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is so significant, just knowing that your needs and your wants are just as important as the next person.
Yeah. That's so well said. That's good.
I agree. I would say like just kind of what she said, but like more to people who like are friends with 2s. So like know your 2s' needs and like know when like they're going through it, because for me, my natural instinct is like I will take care of somebody else before I ever deal with myself. And so like, but thankfully I have friends with me that like can call me out and say like, hey, I've been noticing this. I think you need to like go deal with that or blah, blah, blah. And so I would
Yeah.
like, don't take your 2 friends, like their needs for granted, and be able to like visualize and recognize like when they need you, you know?
Yeah. That's so good.
That's true.
Okay. This is awesome. So this show is called Take a Little Coffee Break. And it's so
Yeah.
like and I'm drinking coffee, and it's so funny because it's so rare for me to actually be drinking coffee in these interviews, because usually they're done like in the evening, and I'm like, this is kind of the evening, but like evening like 7:30 or 8. So I don't always have coffee with me because then I won't sleep. But anyway, I'm just wanting everybody to be proud of me that I'm actually drinking coffee. Get some ASMR. Okay, so because the show is called Take a Little Coffee Break, I want to ask you guys, what is your go-to coffee order when you go to a coffee shop or Starbucks or whatever?
I don't mind. I usually get like a latte with oat milk and probably vanilla. But my favorite drink that's seasonal at Starbucks is the chestnut praline.
That one's so good.
So good.
Patrice, shout out to Patrice at Starbucks on campus at Sam Houston. She taught me how to like make it without it, like, cause she like used this flavor and that flavor to like, so I can drink it year round. It's basically toffee nut, hazelnut. No, toffee nut, hazelnut, vanilla with caramel drizzle, and like I think maybe not the vanilla, but those things, and like with the caramel drizzle, and it makes it taste like the chestnut praline without like the little praline.
Wait, are you serious?
So serious.
I might try that. I love the chestnut praline.
Don't fire her, Starbucks.
But Juana, I remember you used to get that all the time.
See, yeah, seasonal, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get that in the winter time. I love
Or,
that.
and the gingerbread one. The gingerbread one's really good too.
Yes. I like that one. What about you, Juana? I think I know this answer, but I don't know if it's changed already or not. Can I guess it?
Yes.
Okay. Is it still an iced caramel macchiato with extra caramel?
Yes.
It still is. Such a good friend.
I also like the pink drink now, and someone's gonna make fun of me about it.
Lord.
I like the pink drink.
But listen, that's what I drink if I'm just hanging out with you, and because I can't drink caffeine as much now that I'm pregnant. So
Yeah.
and I know like it's tea, so it does caffeine, but it's not as much.
Yeah.
So it's like my like pick me up, but
Yeah.
not really.
I like the pea drink. It's a little basic, but I tried it for the first time a few months ago, and it was pretty good. I like it. I understand why it's so popular. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you guys so much for doing this. This was so cool it's so interesting to see the similarities between you and you guys, both
When
of
you
y'all.
know I was doing it with Juana, I was like, Juana's a 2?
Yeah,
It's okay. I
she
still
is.
think that. I'm like,
She is. I feel like I got to see that a lot firsthand though, like when we were living together.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories, like early memories of our friendship, I think it was when I got the job at the visitor center. Juana got me like some Starbucks, like my favorite Starbucks drink, and she gave me a note saying congratulations. I think it was when I got my job, or was it for something else?
I mean, I did that. Like, I feel like I would give you like
Little things here and
it
there.
was for Valentine's Day before PK came along. Like, I would give you like a rose and chocolate.
Yeah, it was always so sweet. I would always get gifts from her, and it was the sweetest thing. It was so cute.
I hand washed your car once, and I never told you.
What?
But now you know.
No
Girl,
way.
my car is so ghetto that I'm like, I probably didn't even notice.
You didn't notice. I was like waiting, and then you like got in your car.
Juana!
That's a 2 right there. And
Juana!
you're just
And
I
was
feel
like,
terrible.
It's fine.
I am
That's
so
a 2.
shook. Juana, no.
It was fine. It was.
You hand washed my freaking car, and I didn't notice.
Misty looked a little rusty as well.
She's still looking a little rusty. Juana, thank you. I'm so sorry.
Girl, that was like 4 years ago. I just
Ew.
remember because it was funny to me.
No, I would have. Did you cry?
No,
I would have cried if nobody noticed.
because the Lord, I was like cleaning my car, and then the Lord's like, "Look at her car," and I'm like, "Yeah, I look rusty." And he's
The
like,
Lord's
"Clean
like, look at her car.
So then I was like, I don't know if I should ever tell her because the Lord told me, but then I was like, nah, I could tell her.
Oh my! Literally 4 years later. I'm so shook right now. What'd you say, Vonte?
What a reveal.
I know. I feel this is gonna bother me for the rest of my life.
Great content right here.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. This is terrible. I don't know. You should have never told me.
People are gonna think I'm being passive by telling you, but I'm not.
No.
To me, it's so funny because
You know what? One day I'm
in the car.
One day I'm gonna return the favor with your big old Jeep. I'm gonna return the favor one day just because I can't live with that. I can't. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for doing this. What a way to end the show with this big secret that was revealed. I love y'all. Thank y'all for doing this, and y'all are so sweet. And yeah, I'm so excited for people to get to know you guys and to know your story a little bit.